Good morning. Okay, so today we're going to prep our hoops. Sometimes I transfer mine digitally. Today I'm gonna cut out the pattern because I think that with double hoops it's easier. So whether you're doing a double hoop or a single hoop, it's not gonna be a whole lot different. Today I think is gonna be like the biggest difference is just like how you prep your hoop. So I've already seen one person that's doing a single hoop. So if that is you as well, don't worry about it. Double hoops are fun, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to. So cut that out. You're gonna have to cut out the center as well. We might also have to cut this in half. We will see. The last time we did a double hoop, I had to cut my pattern to get it to fit. So, tell me, how many of you are doing single hoops and how many are doing double hoops? I am excited about another double hoop. Diane's doing a double. Another double. I didn't get any of my stuff prepped. Okay. Another double. We're excited. We've never done double hoops before. They're really fun. Okay. I don't know if I have scissors. I need my scissors. Hold on. I got my embroidery scissors, but I didn't get my fabric scissors. Okay. So let me get you flipped around and we will get our fabric ready. Okay, so here's our fabric. So what we're gonna do first is cut our fabric. So what I usually do is keep like an inch on each side, but with a double hoop, I like to keep closer to like 2 inches. So because we're using an 8-inch hoop, we're gonna go 2 inches on each side. So like 12-ish inches squared. I don't really measure it. I just put this on here and then I just cut around it. Yes. It's very good. Okay, we just wanna make sure we have plenty of space to bring that center up and then be able to do our second hoop as well. So what we're gonna do first is use our little baby hoop. Oh man, I haven't used a hoop with blue goo on it for a long time. But that's okay, because this is gonna be on the underside, so we won't see it. Okay, so now if you're using a patterned fabric, I don't know how many of you are, but if you are using a patterned fabric, you want your pattern on, like, down on the table, okay? So what we're gonna do is take our inner hoop out. If you're using bamboo hoops, make sure you keep that centered. This one is not quite round. You can kind of see it's a little bit oval. So I just wanna make sure that that inner ring stays at the top so that I remember, so we don't have gaps. We don't want gaps. So what we're gonna do is put this on the bottom and we're gonna get it as close to the center as possible. And then we will put our outer hoop over the top. And that's how we're gonna start. So if you are doing a single hoop, this is how you're gonna do it. You're going to, except that if you're using pattern, it'll be up on the top. And then we're just gonna tighten this. Tight as you can. And then we're gonna pull this snug. I usually just hold like here and here as I'm going around. It's a little easier when you don't have this much fabric, but all the way around, and then I just push the two back together. So I'm just pushing that inner hoop back down onto and making sure that that's tight. Should sound like a drum. I like to tighten it just one more time. Okay, so it should look like this for a single hoop. Okay, double hoops, we're gonna flip this over now. So if you're using a pattern fabric, your pattern should now be on top. Here's where we're gonna get a little tricky. We have this hardware right here. So if you are gonna be weird about how you're stitching, like if you want to stitch like this is your top, I would move your hardware to the bottom so that it sits like right here. We're not gonna have a whole lot of stitching right there. We can still move this piece if we need to, but if it's gonna bug you, I would put it down by the water. It's gonna be the most out of the way down there. Okay, which is what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna put my hardware down there at the bottom. All right. So now we're gonna do our outer hoop. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna take out our inner hoop and put it on the bottom. And set this up over the top, and then we will do this over it. Now, the biggest trick is to get it as centered as possible so you don't have to manipulate it as much once you get the hoop on there. So pretty centered. And then we will start to tighten it. So tighten this first. And then I like to see where it's the widest. So like it's a little bit skinnier over here than it is over here. So I'm gonna start pulling on this end first to kind of pull that center ring to the very center. And pull out these wrinkles. Okay. And we just tighten the fabric and tighten the hardware as we go. Okay, this needs to be way tighter. It's not holding my fabric. A lot of times, I didn't bring my screwdriver over here, but if you have one, don't get it so tight that you can't pull your fabric, but have it tight enough that you don't have to like keep straightening the same part. We're just gonna work our way all the way around that. I probably could have doubled this fabric. It's a little bit thin. Okay. Now we will have a little divot here because of that hardware. I'm gonna try not to worry about it too much. I think I need my screwdriver. Let's see if I can tighten this just a little bit more. You really want to make sure that this is super tight. With a single hoop, it's not as big of a deal I mean, it is, but I would say it's most important if you're doing a double hoop to make sure that your fabric is really tight. Otherwise you have like bunching here and bunching here. So, okay. Pull that a little off center. Hold on. This is the hardest part, is just making sure that it's centered and tight. So if it takes you a few tries, it's okay. There, that's good. Okay, let me grab my screwdriver, hold on. So once you have it where you want it, get this as tight as you can. Pliers or a screwdriver. Oops. See how much more I can still tighten this. Okay. Yes. All right. Now, I'm going to cut off the corners. I'm not going to cut it super short because we want some left over for when we finish our hoops, but these corners always get in the way when I'm stitching, so I'm just going to cut them off so that they don't get pulled into my stitching. Okay, now let's get our pattern on there. It should fit real nicely. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just cut here, just so I can fit it like this. Oh, my edges are a little not fitting quite tight enough. Let me just trim. I usually say cut on the inner side of the pattern circle. Okay. We're still a little thick right there. I mean, it doesn't have to fit perfect, but Jana says she got on lightweight. What size is the smaller hoop? It's a 3-inch. 3-inch in the middle, 8-inch on the outer edge. And that's in the pattern as well, on the supplies list. Okay. I'm not gonna worry too much anymore. Okay, there we go, we have our pattern. So what we're gonna do is just draw this on. So if you want to, you can put like a screen behind here for some light or put it up against a window. I find if I push my fingers just up against it, I can just draw where my fingers are and I don't need to do that. Depending on what fabric you have, that might be easier or harder. Try binding your hoop. Like on the edge. I gotta get this centered. Sorry, I'm gonna want to stitch this. You can always move your hoops, but I know that will bug me if it's not centered. See, my pattern's off. That's the top and it's crooked. What way does it need to go? This way. Okay, that's better. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start drawing. I don't draw every single detail when I draw my patterns on here. Just because like the house, we'll stitch it and then we'll stitch the railing over the top of it. So you won't even be able to see the railing that we draw. So I'm not even gonna draw it. Or like, I know that we're gonna do a plus sign in that window. I don't need to draw that. The lady was complaining about her hoop not holding the tightness, so I suggested binding her hoop. Oh, yeah. If it's not holding very tight, for sure, you can wrap like the inner hoop, because then you can't even see it. You just wrap like fabric or thread or something over the edge on the inside, and it will help with the it'll help with holding your hoop really tight. It'll like fill those gaps. All right, this chair was hard to draw. Pattern is a little bit wrinkled, it's struggling. Okay, so I might need to get out my pattern. I'm gonna have to draw that later. I can't see through the fabric well enough to see where all those lines are. I don't know. I need to look at my pattern while I do that. Now, if you're using a pencil instead of like something that's gonna erase, I would just say make sure you're drawing very lightly and doing your best to keep everything like super light and like as straight as you possibly can. Okay. Oops. See, my line was not very straight. I'm not too super worried about these lines. Our little tiny crab. I'm just gonna draw its body. This is like the not very fun part, I think. I like when we can start stitching. I was also gonna say, I practiced this like 3 times before the video, like getting my hoop in there. So if you have to take a couple of times to get it on there and tight and stuff, like I have already practiced. So don't feel like you have to get it on your first try. If you need to redo it, just redo it. I'm not gonna draw the extra like spines. I'm just gonna draw the main part of those. And then we'll draw our little ice cream shop. Oop, that's not straight. Okay, just this bench left. This is another one I might need to look at the pattern while I'm drawing it. I'm just gonna draw lines. There. Okay. Yay! Now we're ready for Monday. Sometimes I'll go back in, like this line is not very straight, and kind of fix it. This is where pencils are a little bit harder because you can't really, I mean, we're gonna cover all of this up, so I guess it doesn't really matter, but anyways. Okay, so that is it for me today. Once you get this done, we will start, leave your center. We will cut this when we're done. I feel like it holds things a little bit tighter. If we don't cut out this fabric, just leave it. We'll cut it out at the end. Okay? Let me know if you have questions. And then I will start posting, I'll start making a plan of what we're gonna stitch first, what days we're gonna do what, and start posting those. So let me know if you have questions before then, and I will see you next week. Bye.